All right. Shalom. Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKadosh. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who does lead and rule well. I want to say salutations and shalom also to you, Akim, that's pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom also to you, Akim and Akwaf, that's listening and learning, preparing yourselves here in these last days. And to the entire household of faith that's fighting this good fight of faith. And to you all, I want to say shalom. This is your brother Daquar from the DC camp. Come back at you with another lesson. And I'm entitled this one, The Lord's Vineyard. All right, and I'm in transit right now, so that's why I don't have my face on the screen, but the work still must be done. All right, now back to the lesson. I wanted to do a video on the Lord's Vineyard, man, because that's us, the Israelites. Now the Lord, he doesn't plant carelessly. He didn't build us up randomly. And the Lord, when he does these things, when he brought us up, he had expectations for us, man. Everything that the Lord created has a purpose. Israel, Yasharallah, has a purpose and the order. So everything that the Lord cultivates is meant to produce fruit. And this is what we're supposed to be doing, producing fruit, man. Being righteous. And the scriptures show that the Lord described us as his vineyard, and that's what I'm going to get, man. But when you look up let me go to the definition. You look up a vineyard. Hold up. Okay, here we go. It says a plantation of grapevines, typically producing grapes used in winemaking. All right. But a vineyard is not a wild land. A vineyard is cultivated. It's prepared. It's clean. Cleared up, man. And protected. That's what the Lord did for us. He pruned it. So this vineyard is intentionally developed so that it produced good fruit. All right. So that means that the Lord didn't leave us without guidance. He gave us guidance, man. And despite what the Lord did, it produced wild grapes, man. So let me go ahead and jump to Isaiah the 5th chapter. All right. Now, if you go to the blue letter, Isaiah the 5th chapter, the heading is the parable of the vineyard. And I'm going to start from the top. It says, now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And that's when you see it talking about a beloved, or my beloved, is talking about Israel, man. It says, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. So it said he fenced it. Like I said, he protected us, man. Nothing was missing when the Lord did this, man. He gave us instruction, protection, correction, structure. He gave us every opportunity to thrive. But instead, what appeared? It said wild grapes. So the problem wasn't the planting. The problem was the response to the cultivating. And ultimately, like the law says, like the scripture says, it wasn't a problem with the law. It was more so a problem with us. The law was perfect, but we were imperfect. All right. And this is why there's a need for the second covenant. All right. So it said he fenced it, he gathered out the stones, he planted the choicest vines, man. Everything necessary for growth was provided for us, man. The obstacles was removed for us. Instruction was established. Let me get a precept real quick and I'm gonna come back. This is Psalm 80 and verse Psalm 80 and verse 8. It says, thou hast brought a vine out of Egypt. Thou hast cast out the heathen and planted it. Thou preparedst room before it and didst cause it to take deep root and it filled the land. Okay? So who was the people that he brought out of Egypt? That was a rhetorical question, man. If you know the scriptures, you know that is talking about Israel. Okay? So, hold on. Bear with me 1 second. I had got that for a particular reason. So like it. Bear with me 1 second. I lost my point. Where is it? Anyways, it's all right. Okay, here it goes. Yeah. So yeah, the Lord brought us out of Egypt. You know, Israel, we wasn't just free. We was transplanted into a new land, man. It said he casted out the heathen. What was that land? The land of Canaan, which is also, you know, the Garden of Eden. We planted eastward in Eden. That's the same place. You know, it said he prepared his room before it. That's how you know that it was always our land from the beginning. But we got spewed out of it. All right. And it said it did cause it to take deep root. Hold on. So it said, thou prepared this room before and did cause it to take deep root and it filled the land. You know, so that's what? That's stability. That's that covenant. That's the identity that the Lord gave us, man. And it said it filled the land. That's that growth. You know? Look, we had every opportunity to thrive. Hey, why you think that land is so coveted? You know, do some research on the position of that land that we're going to get back. That's our land, you know. But, you know, the point is the Lord took us from a corrupted system and he planted us in the truth. He gave us the truth, man. And he created the conditions for us to grow and for us to bear fruit. Okay? Hold on. Why do I keep doing that? Anyways. So yeah, man. The Lord put us in conditions that established us for growth, man. All right, let me get another precept real quick. 2nd Esdras 5. 2nd Esdras 5 and verse 23. It says, and said, O Lord, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine. Thou hast chosen the one only vine. All right. And that's talking about Israel. And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof, one lily. And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river, and of all builded cities, thou hast hollowed Zion unto thyself. All right. So again, it's talking about, but matter of fact, I'm gonna keep going a little bit. It says, and of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove, and of all the cattle that are made thou hast provided thee one sheep, and among all the multitudes of people thou hast gotten thee one people, and to this people whom thou lovest thou gavest a law that is approved of all. And I wanted to get that because that's what he gave us. That's what separates us, man. You know, but I got that to show of all the trees, you know, which can represent these other nations, he chosen the one vine. So we were selected, we was set apart, man. So again, the vineyard represents a people that's intentionally cultivated by the Lord. He dealeth with us, not how he deals with other nations. Simple and plain. All right, and this is what the law does for us, right? This is Exodus 19 and Exodus 19 and verse 5. It says, now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. All right. So if we was to keep what the Lord told us to do, we would have been above all people. Why? Because he makes the fucking rules, man. You know? He said, all the earth is mine. It says, and ye shall be unto me. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. All right? He didn't do that with any other nation. There's no record of that. You know? So if your churches ain't teaching you about Israel, then they obviously going off. You know? So Israel's a peculiar treasure to him. And we're going to be a nation of a kingdom of priests, you know? We're a holy nation, man, set apart from these other nations. Right? It also says the same or similar in Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. It says, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. It says Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were fewest of all people, but because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, have Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of the bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. All right. So the Lord did this for a reason, man. You know. Now we were chosen above all people, but we're chosen for responsibility, man. You know, for instruction. You know, we was given an identity, and that shouldn't be taken lightly. Sirach 17. The lecture praise his holy name. This is, I'm gonna get straight to the point though. Sirach 17 and 11. It says, besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. All right, so that's what he gave us, the law of life for a heritage, man. The rest of these people, they don't. That's why the rest of these nations is likened unto the dead. You know, you can read that in various scriptures. They are dead. You know, and now we're dying like men because we got corrupted, man. But that's not the original purpose of us, man. You know, doesn't the scripture says, I have said ye are gods, but ye shall die like men. And God simply just means powers, man. You know, if we are Israelites, Yashar Allah, he is a prince of the power, then we are powers, man. Just like in the beginning. You know? So he gave us the law of life, man. This is crazy. This never happens. And the law is described as life, man. So he gave us direction, stability, and identity, man. Now this is what the scriptures say. I'm going to get Baruch, the 4th chapter, and I'm going to just read the top. It says 4:1. It says, this is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. All right, and see, when we left it, we die. We gonna die. You know. If you wander out of the way of understanding, you're gonna be in the congregation of the dead, man. You're gonna be just like these other people, and that's where we were, and we're coming out of that, man. Okay. It says, give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. So I don't understand why these people was trying to incorporate these heathens into our promises, man. It says, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. All right. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Okay, so the Lord reveals, he gave us these things, let us know what's pleasing to him. You know, nobody else has that advantage, man. So he gave us that instruction, and what that is, it produces order. That's us being brought out of that confused state, that dust. This is how you know that when it says, let us create man in our image, it's not talking about every nation, every people, you know. But that instruction, it also produces understanding. It produces stability. So again, the vineyard was given everything necessary to produce righteousness, man. What it says in I don't think I got that. Nope, I got 7. Deuteronomy 4 and 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So listen, man, like don't let them fool you. The law is great, it's perfect, man. You know, like we got the dietary laws. If we followed that, man, we wouldn't have all these different diseases and stuff, man. You know. Well, also Esau is contaminating every goddamn thing, but still, you know. Knowing how to treat your brethren, that's why it's life. We will be thriving. That's our wisdom, and if we was obedient into it, it would produce that understanding. Psalm 19:7 says, the law of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. All right, so the law converts the soul. It changes our mindset. Okay? And again, this was given unto us, man. And a lot of our people, they don't care about it, man. Sirach 24 and 23 says, all these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High power, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage again unto the congregations of Jacob. Jacob is also Israel, if you ain't know. If you don't know, now you know. Let me look up that word heritage. All right, heritage, the definition, it says property that is or may be inherited, an inheritance, which you got the land, but in this case it's talking about the law, right? It says a special or individual possession and allotted portion. It says inheritance, tradition. Hold on, let me see if... Okay. It says valued objects and qualities such as historic buildings and cultural traditions. And cultural traditions that have been passed down from previous generations. And that's what we lost, man. Again, man, we tried everything except for doing what the Lord said. And now we at the bottom of society. Won't you try something different for a damn change, man? You know? Because the covenant is going to produce that order. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 18, it says, and love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption, which incorruption makes you closer to the Lord. That's what it says. You know, corruption is that's when you die, man. You know, us not listening to the Lord is what separated us from Him. It says love is the keeping of her laws. So love, again, it produces that obedience, man. And obedience produces discipline. And discipline produces stability, which is going to produce that fruit, man. But going back into the 5th chapter, Isaiah the 5th chapter, it said that it produced wild grapes, man. He looked that it should bring forth grapes, but it brought forth wild grapes, man. So wild grapes represent corrupted. We had corrupted growth. What? Disobedience, rebellion, disorder. You know, injustice. So we departed from the instruction that He gave us, man. Let me go back. Isaiah 5:3, it says, "And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now, go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down." And that's why we in the situation we in. The Lord removed that hedge from us, man. He removed that protection from us. So now, like it says, you know, you got the wolves is just coming in. You know, we defenseless, man. And these nations, they have their way with us, man. He said, "And I will lay it waste, and it shall not be pruned." Again, you look up that word pruned. Shit, moving slow, bro. Let me say zamar. To trim, prune. Cut off, you know. This is husbandry. Anyways, it says, "It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no more." Salah. "I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it." So now you ain't producing nothing. It says, "For the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah is his pleasant plant. And he looks for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry." So, you know, we were supposed to, you know, as leaders, you were supposed to teach these, pass these ways down. You know, you got certain, you know, they started to pretty much take advantage of the Lord's flock, man. Feed their own bellies, man. That's the oppression. You wasn't supposed to do that. So now we in this position, man. I'm not going to read the whole thing, man. But that's a good chapter, man. But again, he looked for judgment, he found oppression. He looked for righteousness, he found a cry, man. He expected order, but what did he find? He found chaos, man. You know? And that was the same thing that was going on when Yahushua came on the scene, man. That's why he said, "Do as they say, not as they do," because they was over there teaching the law, but they wasn't really upholding it, right? This is the other scripture that I thought of for this lesson, Jeremiah 2 in verse I'm gonna start at 20. No, I'm gonna start at 19. It says, "Thine own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken Yahweh thy power, and that my fear is not in thee, saith Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Yahweh, power of hosts. It says, for of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou saidest, I will not transgress. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest, playing the harlot. So the Lord, he got us out of captivity, right? And what do we do? As soon as we go ahead and start getting into all these other nations, man, wanting to be like the other nations. Even today, you got Jake trying to be Muslims, Buddhists. Hey, hell, even you being a Christian, that's a false. That's not what was passed down from Moses. You know? Read the scriptures, man. Anyways, verse 21, it says, yet I planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? All right? So he called us degenerates, man. He planted a noble vine, but we became degenerates. A strange vine, it develops when what? That instruction gets abandoned, man. And that's what happened to us, man. So we didn't keep the statutes, you know. Even though the Lord cultivated the vineyard, the instruction was rejected, man. And that's when corruption starts to spread, man. But there's hope, because the Lord, he said he preserves a cluster. Because, again, he chose us for a purpose, man. That's why scripture says, it is because of the Lord's mercies we aren't consumed. The Lord's cultivation is not going to fail. He's still working in us, man. His purpose is not going to fail. All right. This is Isaiah 65 and verse 8. It says, thus saith Yahweh, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it. So will I do for my servants' sakes, that I may not destroy them all. So it's a blessing in it. The cluster represents that fruit that's being preserved, man, because it still contains life. You know? When the Lord comes and says, shall you yet find faith on the earth? He gonna find it. So the Lord identified that cluster, and it still contains some good fruits, man. The whole thing wasn't bad. Some cultivated fruits still existed, man. All right, this is 2 Esdras 9 and 21. It says, and I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. And so this is why we tell you that 2/3 is going to get destroyed, man. And we can see it. Why majority of our people gotta fucking die, man. They don't want to listen to what we saying. They still holding on to what Esau said is correct. You know, the spirit that worketh in the children of disobedience. When you got wrath hanging over your head, man. When all you got to do is just listen to the word, man. So you don't want to listen? That's why you're going to die. But the Lord, ultimately, the point is the Lord is not going to abandon the vineyard, man. You got it today. When we do, listen, man. When you join these camps, all right, it's just like when the disciples was following Yahushua, he was teaching them. Then they became teachers. They became apostles, which means they were sent. So when we're doing these camps, it's the same thing. You are being cultivated, man. They want to say it's they call them shits, a fucking whatever. I forgot what they call them shits. Them little cults, yeah. You know, well, it is a cult. You know, that's what do you think culture means, dummy? You know, but is it the right cult? I'd rather be in the Lord's cult than the America's cult. Anyways, yeah, man, it's a blessing still in it, man. All right, So that cluster, it represents those that still remains connected to the root. Is that not what Yahushua was teaching? We still being nourished by the truth, man. We're getting that life. You know? We still being guided by the Lord's instructions, still being shaped by his correction. We accepting the correction, man. So the remnant fruit is the ones that's connected to the vine. This is John 15:4. It says, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. All right? You ain't doing this without Yahushua. You got some people that really believes, man, whatever, man. I'm going to start at the top. John 15:1, it says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it. Purging it is the same as pruning, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. All right? And I'll read it again. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples. All right? Man. It says, as the Father have loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my word. In my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. All right? So the Lord, he didn't abandon us, man. Quite the contrary. You have abandoned the Lord, man. We abandoned the Lord. But we coming back to the Lord, man. So honor your call. Those wild grapes, man. You growing without no guidance, man. You wasn't pruned. You're not getting correction. You don't have any structure. So what happens to those wild grapes? They start absorbing the surrounding influences. Instead of being shaped intentionally, they being shaped by this environment. That's death. It produces death. You know? So, it's so many more so many more scriptures, man. But I feel like the point is made. All right? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. You know? So Lord's willing, that was an edifying lesson. Until the next one, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakadash. And I want to say, Shalom.